Hello, this is Mark, doing an update on weight loss and mental health, and this is not the video that I planned on making. Most of them are not, but I made a previous video on like updating and talking about like how I had kind of fallen off the bandwagon with weight loss and had gained some weight and was really struggling with like mental health, with anxiety and OCD. And I thought that video was going to be a proclamation of sorts, like, oh, I haven't been doing good, but like I'm going to make this video, and I'm gonna, like, the next video is going to be so great because like I'll have lost weight and been doing so much better, right? You know, have some epiphany or something like that. But pretty much the opposite has happened. I talked about how I gained weight, and when I started my weight loss journey, I was like almost 360 pounds. I think that the most I can remember that I weighed was like 358. I didn't weigh myself for a little while after that, so I'm pretty sure I got about 360. But I had dropped down to where my lowest was 280. And I was doing really good, right? You know, I was losing a lot of weight, and I'd lost a lot pretty quickly starting out. So I went through a treatment center for mental health and a little bit of substance abuse stuff, and this was after I'd been in a hospital where they thought at the time they thought I was having a heart attack because I went into the emergency room for one thing, and then like they took my vitals, and understandably my vitals were not that great with blood pressure and oxygen levels, and they immediately took me back. It was pretty scary. So I went through just a real bad bout of anxiety after that, where I just thought, okay, I've got to lose weight and lose it fast and all these things, and I lost a lot of weight very quickly by effectively not eating very much, and I was like exercising constantly and probably losing it in the most unhealthy way. But I lost, and I got down to like 280, and I felt really good about that. But I've had a lot of stressors in life, just things that have come up, many of them my own doing, some of them not. Life is what it is, but a lot of stress at work and stuff like that. And I found myself to, go back to old habits of like binge eating and stress, like trying to deal with anxiety through coping, stress eating, lots of caffeine, energy drinks, stuff like that. And I tonight was getting ready to go to sleep, and I was taking a shower, and I weighed myself, and I keep telling myself, all right, I know I'm gaining a little bit of weight, but it's all right. I'll get through it. It's not that much. But I weighed myself tonight, and I'm going to put the weight up here at the top, but it was 300 pounds, 300.2. And I remember when I broke the 300-pound barrier, like it was a huge celebration. I'm pretty sure I still have it on TikTok, and big deal, and that was just huge. I mean, I had not been below 300, and I don't know when, at least 10 years, maybe a lot more than that, I'm not sure. But I successfully have broken it again, but the other way. So it was when I first weighed myself tonight, I was pretty down on myself, pretty depressed, like, oh my gosh, how have I I was losing a lot of weight, and now I've gained 20 pounds of it back. Like, how does that work, right? But I thought about it, and this is where I'm really thankful for the things I have encountered over the last year, like going to a treatment center and stuff, is that I know before, like if I weighed myself and I was 300 pounds and I'd gained 20 pounds, to get there, I'd be really down on myself. I would probably come down, and I would deal with that. This, feeling bad and anxiety and depression and like, oh, I'm failing, probably by eating some more or doing something really unhealthy. Coming down and, hey, let's drink some caffeine and eat something else, eat your feelings, right? Or something, but I started taking a more realistic look of like, okay, well, I'm 300 pounds, and I lost to get down to 300 pounds and below that before. And how did I do that? I simply, two things. I watched what I ate, and I exercised more. May have not done it the best way, but those are the two ingredients, it seems, eating better and being more active. I can do that again. Now, granted, I have anxiety and the stress and the OCD and stuff, but, I just started thinking through it, and that's a huge difference. Instead of just wanting to melt into, doing something to take the feelings away, right? Overeating or something like that, mindlessly watching TV or something. I'm going to actually face it, talk about it. I'm not going to make this great comeback video that I thought I was going to make. I'm actually making a video where I've gained more weight, right? I've gained like 7 pounds since the last video. But one thing I did say in that last video is that I wanted to do these to keep myself accountable. And I was thinking, when I finished and, I came down here, like, I'm lying to myself about being accountable if, like, I can't get on here and make a video when I've gained weight, right? That is not being accountable. That's running from it. And, I'm back to 300 pounds again. And, no better way to do accountability than to show that and just keep doing these videos, where I plan on going the opposite direction again. So that's the weight loss side of it, which is very much tied to the secondary aspect, which is the mental health. Like I said, I did a treatment center last year, and I was in pretty bad shape with anxiety and panic attacks and stuff like that. And I think some of that was tied to my health, and it's kind of a loop, but had a lot of health anxiety, understandably so, after being in the hospital and stuff like that. It's one thing to go to the hospital because you just have something, beyond your control, right? But when you're there and you're like, I put myself here, due to life choices and, being so overweight and being healthy, I mean, it adds a layer of guilt that I wasn't ready to deal with, right? Like, oh, this is it, and it's my fault. But it is what it is. Like, I had to deal with it, and I did. But, one thing that will get me right back to that point is the guilt, oh no, I've done too bad or something, instead of just daily taking it head on and being like, okay, what healthy choices can I make today? But, the other aspect of it with the mental health part, I have really been struggling with that. And going back to my story, I'm sorry, I think I'm a little sidetracked there, of, panic disorder and anxiety and OCD. I've been doing really, really well with the panic disorder. Like, I have had panic attacks here and there, but, I used to be having like 3 or 4 a day, and it was not great. But if I have had them, they've been like, I don't know, spaced out by weeks. It's been a heck of a lot better. The anxiety has still been there, and I felt it really come on to the point that I felt like, okay, I'm going back to maybe where I was, but I somehow find myself bouncing back. Like, I'll get to a point where I'm just completely feeling anxious, and I feel like, here I go, and then I just kind of get through it. I wish I knew exactly, but I feel like, whether I realize it or not, I'm actually doing things that I've learned over time. Gratitude, thinking about the good things in life, thinking about what I'm doing well, focusing on that, focusing on what I've achieved, those kind of things. And just realizing that there's a lot of things outside of my control, that even if all the things I was anxious about were taken away, I am fully convinced that with anxiety, you would find something else to be anxious about. And understanding that concept, it's like, well, I can choose to, I won't say choose to not be anxious. That's not really how it works, but I can just choose to accept it. There's always something to be anxious about. Even if you were given perfect health, everything was perfect, you win $10 million tomorrow. I mean, everything in your life just is suddenly perfect. I am convinced that with anxiety, you will suddenly find yourself being like, okay, everything's perfect. I have all the money and everything is absolutely great in my life, but what if a meteor hits? What if I have a car wreck today? You will always find something to be concerned about. And okay, what about a family member? What if something happens? I mean, just there's always something to be anxious about. And when you just accept that, it's like, well, do I completely give into it and just, become non-functioning, or do I accept even what I'm in right now and just move forward? Whether I realize that, I find myself doing that more and more, just accepting what I'm in. And I think maybe there's some neuroplasticity there. When I went through the treatment center, that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this or, survive this. And I just kept showing up every day, and I did. And maybe my brain just like really latched onto that finally and was like, you know what, if you just keep going, whether I am saying that to myself really or not, I find myself able to get back into it and just keep going. The other part of the anxiety is like OCD, and OCD has just, it goes hand in hand with stress and anxiety. It is a anxiety disorder, but, the obsessions and compulsions, anyone who has OCD can tell you it's very ego dystonic. The things you worry about, the things that hit you, that they're not entirely accurate. They're not always based in reality. Unlike some disorders where you can have thoughts and things that you may believe that are real, which I really can't imagine what that's like. But you'll have a thought and it just becomes a ruminating thought, whatever it could be, just anything, that, I don't know, that something's wrong with you, just anything bad. You could just fill in the blank that you're going to get fired, you have this wrong, that's wrong, this thing's going to happen. And they can even become very nonsensical with people with OCD. Like if, you're driving down the road and the thought occurs to you that, what if I just hit someone? Even though there's no indications that you have driven and hit someone at all, your mind just won't let it go. Like, well, what if I did? Now, logically, you're telling yourself that this is absolutely absurd. It's not true. You're not buying into it, but the thought just will not let you go. That's similar to what OCD, the obsessive part of it. And to alleviate that with the compulsions, you'll just do actions that are trying to alleviate that. My particular actions, people have all kinds of ones of hand washing and really anything can become a compulsion. It's any activity that you feel like you're getting some sort of action or alleviation from the mental distress that you're in. Mine tend to be resetting compulsions, which, that's weird. What does that mean? But like I'll start a book and I'll get through a couple chapters and then I'll start it over and then I'll go through and then I'll start it over. And a lot of people, struggle with that. Mine, unfortunately tends to be in the almost absurd level of starting things over. Hence my rule when I make these videos, I can only do one take, because I would probably sit here and do 500 if I given the opportunity, but whatever comes to mind and whatever there is in that take, that's what I have to go with to prevent myself from doing it over and over. These are qualities that can really pay off in certain situations, in certain lines of work and jobs. If you're an accountant with OCD, you don't miss much, right? Or, other things that can really pay off in. My line of work is in computers, and I tend to really focus on things, unfortunately, to an abnormal degree sometimes, and can think them through repetitively and probably, figure out things. But not so good when you're trying to finish books and you're trying to do like other things that will drive your family members and other people crazy, because you're restarting it again, or you're doing it a certain way, or you have to be in a very certain order kind of thing. But those compulsions can really seem bizarre, but you notice they're a problem when they start to really take over parts of your life. Like, even just as strange as this sounds, driving to work, I feel like there has to be a ritual. As weird as it is to even like drive to work, I have to go a certain way today, and then tomorrow I'll go this way, and the next day that way. I know in my mind the whole time I'm doing it, it's like, this makes no sense. I could go this way and it would be so much faster or something, but it's like, no, I'm going to stick to this ritual or this thing, right? And it is really a compulsion. It's like a orderly, systematic thing you're doing to try and alleviate a sense of anxiety or like dread, right? So both of those I've been struggling with, and I look at them as all something that is extremely intertwined. OCD, anxiety, little bit of depression, weight gain, they're all very, very, very much tied together. So this is my update. I wanted to definitely make this, especially if anyone happens to watch this and has been in the boat of, yay, I was doing good with weight loss, but I've totally fallen off the bandwagon and I'm not in the best place now, or I've gained a lot of weight back. This video is to say that you're not alone, that it has happened, it can happen, but hopefully my intent with this also is to say you can turn it around. And that's why the primary intent of this video is to truly post my weight like I was up top and say, yep, I've gained weight. I have, this huge threshold that I surpassed. I have now jumped back up to it again, right? I'm now have to break it again, 300.2, 0.2 pounds. I could, wait around for 30 minutes and that might go away, but still, it'll probably, I'll tomorrow morning I'll weigh myself. I'm sure I'll be well under it, but it's one thing to surpass it. It's a mental blow, especially when you get these like victories in your head of what you've accomplished, and then you feel like you undo that, right? So yeah, it is what it is. I am going to start posting these regularly. I did stop posting them, which may have not helped me because I didn't have that accountability that I was using these for, right? So I'm going to keep posting, and like I said, it was a big plus, this one, but I'm hoping as I go back, and maybe I'll do this every couple days, weekly, I'm not really sure, but I do want to make it a habit. That number will start to drop again, and I will start getting into more things with mental health, like books and stuff like that can like discuss as like an update. So anyways, yeah, it's kind of later at night here, but I just wanted to go ahead and make this video because, if I waited, I probably wouldn't make it. And, sometimes the best time to do something is when you're in the midst of it, right? Instead of just feeling sad tonight and defeated and all this stuff, I'll just come make a video and talk about it, right? So, yep, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go and end it here, and, yeah. Be making more of these soon. Okay. Hope you have a good night, good day, whatever. I'm terrible at ending these things, but thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.